The Fighting Entrepreneur is over. That's it. These few episodes coming up this month, these are the last episodes I'll ever do of The Fighting Entrepreneur. It's ending. Look at this beautiful glove. We'll never use it. What the hell? There's a pen hanging off of it. We'll never use this again. All right. So what's going on? Why? It's an emotional thing for me. This might be one of the realizations I had actually during COVID when I was really reflecting. It's pretty deep. Okay, so first and foremost, my podcast is not ending. The Fighting Entrepreneur is ending. The show will be renamed starting in December. Yeah, it might be a week or two here and there. We're still figuring out, like, how the hell do you change the name of a podcast? Like, where do you go to edit stuff or whatever? The old episodes will still be up and they'll stay up as Fighting Entrepreneur, but the new ones will now be under a brand called the Anik Singal Show. So we're just going to turn this podcast into a new name. So it's still same place, same subscription on iTunes and all those places. But I want to explain to you why. And this is, it's a deep moment. Like, you'll hear me do pauses because it's just the redefinition of who Anik is, what I've believed. A lot of my core beliefs have been challenged over the last couple of years and I've been fighting them a lot. But I think over the last few months, I've just begun to truly accept those changes. It's made me so much happier. It's made me so much more excited. It's made me better as a leader, as a coach. Here's the core thing I've changed. And I cannot believe I'm saying this on this podcast, but it's the truth. So it's whatever. I have to say it. 20 years ago, when I started into the entrepreneurial world, 21 years ago, when I started as a kid, I had this core belief because I've always been one way. My genetic makeup is just so strong in one way. My belief was everyone should be and can be an entrepreneur. I know, it sounds crazy. I really believed it. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, I love cold pizza. I love it. Seriously, pizza that's been put in the fridge and then the next day I eat it cold right out of the fridge. I freaking think it's the best dish on the planet. Outdo any Michelin star meal. But yet my wife hates it. She thinks it's disgusting. And I can't fathom. I look at her and I'm like, I don't understand how you could possibly not love cold pizza out of the fridge. It's the best thing ever. It's the only thing I've known. It's amazing. So me as a kid, when I was really young, when I was in 3rd grade, I started my first business as a lemonade stand. I remember in 9th grade, I got in trouble because I tried to start another business. Then in 11th grade, I started another business. Then in college, I quit the pre-med track and went to business school. I started like 2 or 3 businesses while in college. And then since then, I've gone on to start multiple companies and I love it. Yes, I'm stressed out a lot. Yes, I work my ass off, but I love it. I don't need it any other way. So when people, they go and they do the same thing every day at a cubicle, same thing every day, same thing. I'm like, how the fudge do you do that? To me, it's like blows my mind. And I'm like, everyone should be an entrepreneur. Everyone should want this freedom. Everyone should want this. Da, da, da. It's taking me 20 years to come down to finally say this. And I think the first time I made this realization, you can see it. Go ahead, grab my book, Escape, 2018. I wrote that book in 2018. One of the first few chapters in the book is called Entrepreneur versus Intrapreneur. This was the first time I began to weaken at the knees of my core belief that everybody should be an entrepreneur. And I introduced the terminology intrapreneur, which was, look, not everybody should be the traditional sense of an entrepreneur, the founder, the person who does all the risk taking, the person who leads the way, as we traditionally know to define entrepreneur. An intrapreneur is someone who works within the realm of a company, but takes a lot of ownership, owns their department, has a lot of say, has a lot of freedom. It's an intrapreneur. They have variable income that's determined many times by the success of the company and their department. They get to make more when it does better, but they have the protections of a larger organization. That's an intrapreneur. And now I'm here to tell you that I actually really believe that most people in the world should be employees or entrepreneurs. And I don't say that condescendingly at all. That's where my biggest thing in my life has changed, is I actually believe there's great merits to being an employee. You know, that word somehow has become negative, but like it isn't, right? We don't even use that word at Lurn because of the negative connotation. We say team member. I used to say family member, and I think that's going too far. So you say team member, right? That's the right word. I mean, one of my closest friends is someone who does amazingly well as a quote unquote employee. And he has everything. Him and his wife have everything. They have all the things I have. Their kids they don't go without any want. They probably travel more than even I do, and more freedom than I do. Sometimes I sit back, I'm like, hell, I want that life. There's nothing wrong with it. So the core message that I think everyone should be an entrepreneur is just, I don't think it's something I can stand behind anymore. All right, second reason I want to change the name, the word fighting. Look, I'm a fighter, and that's a great thing. I think as you mature and as you get older, and I've seen this in every entrepreneur, every single entrepreneur that makes it and then like kind of goes to the other side, it's this whole like hustle, fight, hustle, go get it, go. It's not the way to do it. It kills you in the end. It's just not worth it. That's the real thing. You could do it that way. You will definitely make more money. You will be more quote unquote successful, but you will live a shorter life. You will be unhappy. You will be less fulfilled, and you're not going to focus on the right thing. So although I don't mean the fighting entrepreneur to send off that message of hustle, hustle, that's what it does. That's how people receive it. And I don't stand behind that type of lifestyle anymore. So that's the second reason. The third reason is the episodes I've always focused on are very tactical. They're very marketing strategies. I love that. I really do. It's probably one of the reasons I love this podcast so much. But you know, when I do an episode that's like how to sell $10,000 programs using paid traffic, even within my audience, there's probably only like 5% of my audience that cares about that topic. Every episode I release is so specific sometimes that I'm instantly alienating 95% of my audience and 99.9% of the world. And so I sit here and I wonder, why has my podcast not grown more, not grown faster? Because that's probably the only complaint I have for my podcast is I love this thing. It's a labor of love. And I think there's some tremendous valuable information in it. But I watch other podcasts launch from day one and take off to the top of the charts. And I'm like, here's one I've been doing for almost 4 years. And it's growing. It's slow and steady, which is fine. I'm perfectly happy with it. But like, why doesn't it grow faster? I've got an audience. I've got influence. I'm a good interviewer. I've got great guests. Well, it's the topics. The other thing is I'm 39 years old now. I've been doing this internet marketing stuff for 21 years. And the things I'm finding that are making the biggest impact on my businesses now. So this is probably reason number 4, okay? So growth was reason number 3. I think it's limited growth when it's so specific. But reason number 4, I want to change the name and the focus of the podcast is because the types of things that are actually impacting my life now aren't the marketing tactics. You know what? I figured out how to market. There is a lot of ways to market. The biggest and most wise thing I could tell you about marketing is don't do 99% of them. Figure out the stuff you're good at. Just do a lot of it. I know the marketing I'm really good at and I'm the damn best at it. So I just do that and it works. It just keeps working. So I don't necessarily need to learn more techniques and tactics and strategies. Peak performance, personal development, some amazing lessons I pick up from other episodes and other podcasts like Tom Bilyeu's podcast, Lewis House's podcast, Ed Milet's podcast. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. I personally am getting more value from these types of podcasts than I am now from my own types of podcasts. Shouldn't I make a change here? So number 4 is we're going to change the type of topics and the style and approach of our podcast. So this set is going to radically change. Over the course of the next month or 2, it's going to radically change. It's going to become more comfortable. I'm going to be sitting in a chair. It's going to be more casual. It's going to be me putting my best interview skills to the test. We're going to change the types of guests that we're bringing on. I'm actually bringing on an executive producer for my podcast. I'm bringing on an assistant for my podcast. I'm building an entire social media team for my podcast. I'm setting aside a budget to advertise my podcast. So even though the Fighting Entrepreneur as a name is dying, ladies and gentlemen, the news is a really good news, which is the Anik Singal Show is about to become my number 1 and only focus for 2023. This is going to be, when it comes to my content and my public facing stuff, my podcast will now be having an entire team behind it, marketing behind it, tremendously amazing guests behind it. I mean, we're talking about bringing on celebrity guests. We're getting ready for it. I'm building the team that can make that happen. I've been on the interviews like for the last 3 days with people. So those are the 4 reasons that we've decided to end the brand of the Fighting Entrepreneur and launch the brand of the Anik Singal Show. And the other thing I really want to do over the course of the next 10, 20 years is I want to focus much more on my personal brand. I am not necessarily satisfied or excited is a better word about the brand that I've built. I've built a big brand, but I haven't controlled the narrative of that brand. And I want to work on that. And we're going to work on that together. And so that's another reason why I'm just going after naming the show after my name, because I'd like to brand my name and rebrand in some ways my name. So you're going to get to watch this journey. We're releasing this sooner just because I really wanted to tell you what's going on in my head and what's going on in like current times. But you're still going to see a few more episodes, a few more weeks worth of Fighting Entrepreneur episodes come out. My goal is to do the official transition in December. I might do it sooner. I have no idea. Anything is possible, okay? I'm literally working right now on the logo designs and stuff for the Anik Singal Show. If that gets done sooner, we might just pull the plug Thanksgiving time, maybe sooner. Just say, all right, it's done, it's over. And then I'll make a big shebang about it in December. The types of topics we're going to cover, it's going to be awesome. So right now, just so you know, I'm actually looking at booking an astronaut. Yes, an ex-astronaut. We're going to have him on the show. 90 minutes, sitting with him, talking to him about his life. How did he become an astronaut? What did he do? But the biggest thing I want to take away is what did he learn through the tedious work of becoming an astronaut? What lessons, habits did he form that are now helping him live a better life? I have a NFL Hall of Famer football player who's gone on to now become a motivational speaker who teaches people lessons that he has learned from being in the NFL, which is again a very rigorous sport, being the athlete at that level, and now uses those skills to live a better life. I'm talking about bringing on founders who've exited multi-billion-dollar companies. I'm talking about bringing on peak performance experts, time management experts, personal development experts, health experts. That's right. My very own doctor who does my biohacking, I'm going to have him on. And by the way, way, this guy, the reason I believe I recovered from COVID so quickly, even though technically speaking, my body is a perfect candidate for COVID to come wreak havoc in, is because of the work that this doctor does with me. My body was prepared to attack COVID from the first moment I got it. And so I want to talk about biohacking. I want to talk about health. I want to talk about alternative health. So you're going to see this podcast evolve to a podcast that far more resembles Tom Bilyeu or Ed Milet and Lewis House, right? And if you're not listening to those guys and their podcasts, you should, because they're amazing. They're eye-opening. Now, we're going to be a multi-episode podcast. So what we're going to still do is once a week, I'm still going to have these episodes where it's just you and I hanging out and I'm talking about what's going on, what I'm learning, what my lessons are. So you can follow my journey as an entrepreneur still. So we're still going to talk about entrepreneurship. I still love entrepreneurship, but I want you to know something. You may or may not want to be an entrepreneur, and that's okay. And I actually think there might be a lot of you that should not be entrepreneurs, and that's amazing. We're going to celebrate that now. And I still want to be a value in your life. I still want to be able to provide you value. I still want to be able to help you make your dreams come true, get the wealth that you've been looking for, attract the things into your life that you want. I still want to be able to do that. So that's why the Anik Singal Show talks to the world, not just the entrepreneurs. That's the change. It's going to be happening in a few weeks. Listen, this was really, really big. This was not an easy decision. But when COVID happened and I was home alone and I was really reflecting on who I am and what I am and the things I've learned and what I want to change, it became very important to me that I do this for you and that I talk about this publicly, because there are things in your life right now that have become habit that you just do because of habit. But deep down in your heart, somewhere in your heart or in your mind, you know in your subconscious, this isn't right. I shouldn't be doing this. I should change this. I should stop this. I should start this. But habit has you not doing it. Let what I'm doing now, a podcast. So I'm going to let Fighting Entrepreneur basically go exactly to December. Why? Because it hits 4 years. 4 years of a podcast, 300 plus episodes, never missing a single episode until I got COVID, which is ironic, right? To change that, to kill the brand forever and to relaunch, it was a big decision. So what big decision can you make in your life right now? Something you've been stuck on that you just need to get out in front of and realize that it's okay. The world won't come to an end. Make that decision, whatever it is. Let's do it together. All right? Love you guys. Listen, do me a favor. Smash that subscribe button, leave a comment, click like. If you're listening to us on any other podcast episode or podcast platform, please make sure to click subscribe. This is Anik Singal reminding you, when life pushes you, stand straight, smile, and push it the heck back. Let's do big decisions, big things together, everybody. I love you. AnikPodcast.com to binge listen to all the past Fighting Entrepreneur episodes. Only a few more left before we move on to the Anik Singal Show. Love you guys. See you later. Bye.
Thanks for listening to The Fighting Entrepreneur with your host, Anik Singal.